So Apple just had last week their Worldwide Developers Conference for 2025. When I tell you I was looking forward to this one anxiously, I very much mean it. Specifically because iOS 18 was one of the worst versions of iOS I feel Apple has ever put out. In my personal experience, there was just nonstop bugs, battery life was terrible, and the overall design was just okay. The biggest pain point for me though being the Photos app. The Photos app, I don't know what Apple was thinking when they designed this one, but it's absolutely horrendous. And in my opinion, not very usable at all. That was the biggest beef that I had with iOS 18 in my iPhone, was that damn Photos app. And I know I'm not the only one who has that opinion. A lot of my friends and other people online have had a lot of groans about iOS 18. So here we are. WWDC 2025 has come and gone, and Apple has announced iOS 26. Some of you may think, wait, whoa, that's a giant jump. Why did we go from iOS 18 to iOS 26? And it's simply because Apple has decided to match their software number with the active year, essentially. I know it's 2025, but by the time iOS 26 rolls out, you will primarily be using it next year in 2026. It's similar to what car manufacturers do with all their models. And it's not just iOS getting this, it is the entire software lineup across all of Apple. You've got your Watch OS 26, you've got Mac OS 26, you got Vision OS 26, so it's gonna make it a lot easier to keep track of. And honestly, for me, I am okay with this change. It doesn't really do anything other than make it easier to track. So I don't know why you would be against this change, but I'm all for it. Now, to be fair, Samsung did this back with the Galaxy S20, and it was, a nice rounded number at the start of the decade, so Apple could have, done it a little bit sooner. Here we are, Apple implementing things that others have in the past, just a little bit later. But as for all of those bugs and things that I disliked about iOS 18, how is Apple going to fix them? What are they doing with iOS 26? And is it a step forward or a step backwards? In my honest opinion, I am proud to announce that I think it is a step forward. So let's go ahead and jump into the main big changes coming to iOS in iOS 26. The first one, you guys have probably seen this everywhere. They have decided to do a brand new design across all of their OS systems, not just in iOS, but in Mac OS, in your Vision. Well, it's kind of inspired by Vision OS, but Watch OS. They are calling it Liquid Glass. And essentially that's just a very nice, sleek, and refined UI design that's designed to look like you're looking through glass. And they have this liquid glass implemented across the entire UI. Menu bars, selectors, notifications, your control center, your app icons, you name it. It's all being implemented across the entire iOS interface. They're even giving us an all glass mode, which for me, I'm gonna have a lot of fun with. And it's not gonna be for like every background or every one. You're gonna have to make some pretty curated setups to use this in order for it to look good. But I think once you dial in the look that you're going for to use this all glass look, I think it's gonna look pretty sick. And I am actually pretty stoked for it. Bright backgrounds probably won't work the best with it, so you'll probably have to go with a darker background or something that is just, not very contrasty in terms of all kinds of different colors or busyness. You have to have some pretty sleek backgrounds, but I think that's kind of what it's designed for. But once again, in terms of design, I think Apple has done a really good job with how liquid glass looks. Now, granted, there will be some tweaks that need to be made, and I think the biggest one online from the beta testers is that the control center is a bit messy to look at because there's not enough blur in the glass. It's just hard to look at. But from what I'm seeing, that's kind of it. Everything else, the liquid glass looks great, and honestly, it's looking like there's not a whole lot of issues with it. I've seen some people have some slow running phones and other things, but it's beta, and that's the whole reason for these beta testing phases. And so once Apple kind of, irons out those wrinkles, I think this is going to be a great looking UI. If you're new to this channel, I'm actually currently on a Galaxy S25 Ultra because of how much I was starting to dislike iOS 18, and because Parker Burton also gave me the wink wink nudge nudge to switch over and try Android. I went ahead and committed a full 5 months on the S25 Ultra until the iPhone 17 Pro comes out. And I actually sold my old iPhone 15 Pro, so I'm locked in on this thing. The only iPhone that I have currently in this household is my wife's. I have been enjoying this device, I will say. It's been a lot of fun to use, and it is a great piece of tech. But my main intention has always been to go back to Apple onto an iPhone with the 17 Pro line. And so far, this liquid glass redesign that they have implemented into iOS 26 has me pretty excited. In terms of its looks, the biggest question is it going to just be equally as buggy as iOS 18, or is this truly going to be a much more refined software and much smoother than what I was going through with iOS 18? That question will be answered in the future. But side note, if Apple decides to launch the iPhone 17 Pro in like a pearlescent kind of light refracting color, That I think would look amazing with this UI. So I don't know what they have planned as far as the colors go, but Apple, if you're listening, I think that'd be pretty sick to pair with this software. They also announced some changes to CarPlay, which seemed pretty cool. I don't have a CarPlay unit, so I don't have much to say on this, but it just seemed like they added some pretty nice functionality and usability features that honestly probably should have been there in the first place. But it seems like Apple continues to refine CarPlay more and more just to make it the most superior form of using your device while driving that's out there. The camera also got a pretty new, sleek redesign, and I am actually really excited for this. I didn't really have a huge issue with how Apple designed their camera app. It's always been pretty user-friendly in the past, and it always just made sense to me where they put what and how to access it. But this new redesign, I gotta admit, paired with the liquid glass, looks really good, and I can imagine feels really good to use. You've got your just video and your photo tabs. That's it. And then when you want to get to those more advanced functions like your portrait modes, your cinematic modes, you just swipe right or swipe left to access those modes. And then in terms of quality and frame rate and all that, that's also very super accessible with one click away. So they really built on what they already had, which in my opinion, was a good camera app, and made it even more user-friendly, but didn't really necessarily take away any like user function. One of the things I've liked about the Galaxy S25 is the amount that you can do with their Pro modes. I'd like to see that level of Pro mode eventually get implemented over into iOS, but this still looks really good, and usability wise I think is going to be great. Which brings me to a very simple point and very simple update, but the Photos app, thank God they fixed it. It's a really easy fix. You have your tabs back, you've got your library and your collections. That's it. That's all we literally needed to fix the monstrosity of what the photo app became. I personally don't use collections a lot. I know a lot of people who do, but I just use my library. I take a photo and I want to access it. I know when I took it and I know where it needs to be. So that's where I'm gonna go to find it. iOS 18 made that unreasonably hard, and I don't know why, but it just did. So having this tab function back is a huge plus and a huge upgrade. So Apple, thank you for listening to us and implementing these design changes to go back to what we wanted. You've got call screening and hold assist. Now all these functions have been on Android phones in the past. We're just at this point where it's to be expected. Whatever Apple is implementing into their own system, most likely it's been somewhere before. But what I will say about that is Apple usually waits until they can do it very right. For the most part, Apple Intelligence was a huge mishandle on Apple's part, and they definitely downplayed it more so this year at WWDC. Going back to these phone app improvements, hold assist and call screening are the two biggest features I think that a lot of people are going to get a lot of use out of. I myself, back when I was still using my 15 Pro, could have used hold assist several times. Messages are also getting some updates. One of the biggest ones being customizable backgrounds for your conversations. Again, another feature that has been on Android phones for a very long time now, and honestly probably a feature that I won't use because I think it's just more so distracting than anything. I mean, I could see using some pretty minimal designs for certain groups and for certain conversations, but still, it's one of those things that has never really appealed much to me, but that functionality is coming to iOS 26. So you can use the wallpapers they recommend, you can use your own personal photos, or you can use some AI generated stuff within Image Playground to make the background super customized to whoever you're communicating with. And actually, on the note of AI and photos, one of the things that they are bringing into iOS 26 as well is spatial photos. It allows you to create a really cool 3D parallax effect off of any 2D image. I think this will be a lot of fun to play around with, especially with wallpapers. You can go and compose a shot to be specifically for your wallpaper, your home wallpaper, and utilize that 3D effect. I'm really excited to see this get into the hands of consumers because I know there's a lot of creative people out there that will use this and make some really cool stuff. But going back to the Messages app, another big thing is group text. They added a lot of useful functionality within group text. The biggest being polls and also being able to see who's typing what and when. Jumping over to FaceTime, they also added a really cool looking redesign as far as the homepage goes for FaceTime. I actually really like what they did. I like the little live moments that they added and also just how they have your contacts displayed within the FaceTime homepage. I think they did a really good job with it. FaceTime is actually one of those things that I've missed quite a bit being on my Galaxy S25 Ultra. And like I mentioned with the phone app, you're actually going to get live translation in FaceTime as well. This is a functionality that I know is going to be very useful for a lot of people out there. And it's really cool to see Apple implement it in such a simple and clean way. One of the bigger Apple Intelligence features that they highlighted toward the end was visual intelligence coming to your iPhone screen, essentially. And this is just circle to search, which if you've had a Samsung phone, this again is a feature that you've already had. But Apple is finally implementing this onto their own devices. The ability to screenshot, search whatever image or text is on that screenshot is super useful, and I've actually used it quite a bit on my Galaxy S25 Ultra. So I am happy that that will be there whenever I do switch back to iPhone. But I just hope that Apple can deliver upon it and that it isn't super glitchy or doesn't work like most of their Apple Intelligence stuff hasn't. But that is essentially what you are getting within iOS 26, along with some awesome smaller functionality like lens cleaning, hence if your lens is dirty, your camera app will let you know, showing estimated time to charge, and then add contact button within groups. So there's a handful of very useful but small things and just really good quality of life upgrades that Apple is including within iOS 26. There's nothing groundbreaking or revolutionary, I would say. The new liquid glass design, I think, looks amazing and will without a doubt improve and continue to be Apple's new look very far into the future. I think they're setting themselves up very well for the advancements within the spatial computing world for sure. But for now, what Apple has showcased within iOS 26, even the new icon designs, I'm a huge fan of. They've actually got details back to them. All the icons anymore just are very like simplistic. You could design it in Canva if you really wanted to. But these icons, like the new camera app, it's very simple, but you've got some actual design there. There's shading, there's layers, there's life to the icons. So that is, again, very simple, not revolutionary, but I'm excited to see them going back in that direction. And in terms of going back, we're going back to functionality with the Photos app, which I am so thankful for. I don't currently have the developer beta. I just kind of leave that to everyone else. I just like to test things once they're shipped. And so I personally will get my hands on iOS 26 when it does ship with the iPhone 17 series this September. And here's hoping that iOS 26 fixes all those problems that we had with iOS 18. No bugs, just feels smooth, premium, and feels like an Apple device again. Based off what I've seen so far, Apple has listened to the critiques and us, and they've opened the forums, so it does have me excited, it does have me hopeful that we're getting back on track. But all that is still a few months out, so Apple's got some time to work out kinks if there are any. In the meantime, I'm going to continue to enjoy using my Galaxy S25 Ultra. That is it for this video, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully I was able to help inform you what is down the pipeline for iOS. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a like down below, as well as subscribe for future content like this. And I appreciate every single one of you who stuck around and watched this video to the very end. But that is, of course, enough watching, guys, enough consuming. Get out there and create something yourself. I'll see you all in the next video.